Welcome to Millennial Milkshake, the podcast where three funny bones revisit, re-experience, and review things from our childhood. My name is Colin O'Connell, and I was born in 1994.
My name is Josh Sicali, and I was born in 1995.
And my name is Michelle Potter. I was born in 1997.
Guys, it's time to dig in to Cavity Sam himself because we are reviewing the board game? It's a board game, right?
I guess. Yeah.
It's technically a board. Operation is what we're reviewing. And Michelle, I think this was your suggestion, if memory serves.
Oh, it was.
I think so. I know it wasn't mine. It might have been Josh's, but I thought it was yours.
All right.
So, why? Tell us why.
Yeah, so Operation was a game I played as a kid. I always remember this sort of like intensity about it. Because it is sort of a scary game, but it's extremely thrilling if you successfully operate on Cavity Sam. And yeah, it was exciting to revisit that and see if it's still as thrilling. Did you guys play this game as a kid or no?
Yes, I did. I think I played it quite a bit, but it's been a long time, so I had a blast playing it again. Still quite stressful from what I remember.
Extremely stressful.
And I can go into it later. I'm excited to hear what you guys think is the hardest to get out. I think there's a clear winner of the hardest. I kept struggling with it.
I agree.
When I played multiple games with my little brother.
Oh, I also played with my little brother.
When you were younger or now?
Now.
Yeah, me too.
Because I'm going to say there's no way this is true. I must have played it at some point in my childhood. I have no recollection of ever playing this. It's always been a game that obviously it's in the zeitgeist. It's in pop culture. Everyone knows what Operation is. I don't think we owned it in my house growing up. And I don't remember ever playing Operation. Maybe like once at my grandmother's house. But this was not a board game in the O'Connell household that we played. When I was really little, I think it was more Guess Who and Hungry Hungry Hippos for me. Were probably the two big ones when I was really little. Maybe some Sorry too, but Sorry's a little more intense. But yeah, so this was kind of like fresh eyes on this one.
Wow.
You know?
I mean, I did play a good amount of Hungry Hungry Hippos and what was the other one you said?
Guess Who.
Yeah, Guess Who's great.
Dude, Guess Who's so good.
It's so funny.
The other board game I immediately associated with this when I started playing is Perfection. Do you remember that?
I do. I don't remember playing it that much though. And if I did, I just don't remember like what the objective was, how the gameplay worked. I don't really remember it too much. I remember Kerplunk, but I don't think that's the same thing.
Oh, no.
I remember Don't Break the Ice.
Oh yeah, I played Don't Break the Ice
That
too.
was a good one.
Yeah.
Don't Break the Ice I would probably group in with these sort of games
because there is a thing where like how would you describe a game like this and like something like Don't Break the Ice? It's almost like there's
anxiety
actual
driven.
I was gonna say it's more like objects and stuff as opposed to like a traditional card game. Almost.
Oh yeah, that's a great point.
Like I wouldn't put this in the same category as a Monopoly or even like a Sorry.
Yeah, what are those games called? What is the category for them? That's not if it's not a board game, if it's like an object game.
Yeah, it's kind of what it is, right?
Like Jenga.
It's a skill game.
Right. Yeah, Jenga.
It's a skill game.
That makes sense. Because this and Trivial Pursuit could like not be any more different as games, as concepts. Yeah, I don't know. But then where do you put like charades? Is that like a party game?
I would put in party game.
But we had like a Disney charades board game growing up. So like, I don't know. Board games are a weird classifier, but I guess this definitely counts, right?
Yeah, this does classify as a board game.
Yeah. So yeah, Michelle.
So Operation actually began as a college project. So it was invented by someone named John Spinello. He went to the University of Illinois, industrial design student. He invented the game's prototype sort of originally as this like just buzzer based game where you had to like guide this rod through a box maze. And the original like working title for it was just Death Valley, because it was sort of like the thing you had to guide was a desert theme where players would extract water from like holes in the ground apparently. But eventually it turned into an Operation game. And he sold the rights to the game to Milton Bradley for $500 at the time, which is so tragic. And it was initially produced by Milton Bradley in 1965. And would anyone like to take a guess what it's currently valued at and owned by Hasbro?
I'll tell you what, Michelle, I know the answer because there's some Apple facts about this very subject.
Oh, okay. So, $40 million currently, right now. Which is wild,
Damn.
right? Yeah.
Well, wait, hold on. When did he sell it? What was the date?
The 60s, I think. So, like,
Okay.
it was, 1964, he invented it.
All right, so you can continue. I'm going to do a little inflation calculation, and we'll see how much 500 is.
I'm gonna say he made $4,000.
Interesting.
Maybe like 3,500 to 4,000.
Wow, Josh. $4,255.89. That was a hell of a
Pretty good,
guess.
Josh.
Thank you. I owe it to Mad Men.
Oh my God. I would do that all the time.
Yeah, when I was watching it, I was just so intrigued about like what these guys were actually making in this business.
Yes.
So I was like, what was the 60s inflation dollar amount? And it was like 7 or 8 times the in the 60s. So now I just base it off that.
Yeah, I've seen that show like 7 times, and every time they bring up something, like Betty's like, I had to go to the store, I had to spend $15. And I was like, well, what's that? She's all up and she's all like pissed off about $15, and it's like, well, damn. It must have been a good chunk of change.
That and or honeymooners. I was just always curious what.
Oh. Yeah. I wonder how much a trip to the moon was going to cost Alice in medical bills.
Oh, bang zoom.
He used to threaten to beat his wife, and everyone laughed. Yeah, but just to kind of talk about that point, though, it was never like a serious threat he made to her. Like, he's like, I'm going to beat you. And she's like, shut up, you fat idiot. And everyone laughed. Because everyone knew Ralph Cramden wasn't going to hit her.
Speaking of medical bills, though.
Okay.
You bring a point. Yeah, so unfortunately, he didn't make any money really off of the game. And there's a story in 2014 that I was reading about where he was in need of surgery that would cost around $25,000, and he couldn't afford the surgery because he sold the rights to Operation for so little money. But crowdfunding allowed him a surgery, and Hasbro, which bought Milton Bradley, also donated to help him get this surgery. Also there was actually a surgeon who, his name was Andrew Goldstein, who was like a fan of Operation when he was a kid. And when he became a surgeon, he noticed, when he was doing the specific surgery, it's like a thyroid surgery. He noticed it was really risky due to like the proximity to the nerves of the vocal cords. He actually took inspiration from Operation and created a probe, like a signal that would pass to the electrode, and a buzzer would sound if they ever got too close to the vocal cords when he was doing this surgery. And that was he like sold the technology for that in 1991, and it's been used in thousands of thyroid surgeries since, which is crazy.
Wow.
He got this idea from a children's board game. Thought that was pretty cool.
So that's kind of like the bar for like board games, I guess, moving forward.
Yeah.
Your move, Risk. Like,
Oh my God, Risk.
we're going to play Risk at some point. We're going to play a 3-person game of Risk, and it's going to be awesome.
I've never played Risk.
I can't wait. It's so unnecessarily complicated and so long.
Yeah, my brothers loved that game. We played it all the time.
Especially for like kids. It's not a kid's game.
No, yeah. So just a few other things. So Brain Freeze was added in 2014. They like had a contest where people could vote for a new piece to be added, which like is not even on the board game I bought. But they were given 3 choices, and like the person who suggested it won like a $5,000 shopping spree, and it beat out Tennis Elbow and Growling Stomach, which is interesting.
Okay, so the person who made a suggestion for what they should add made more money than the guy who sold the rights, who created the game.
That's exactly right.
That's the worst
exactly
thing I've
right.
ever heard.
It's terrible. It's just truly terrible. My last thing is just like just a few of the versions of Operation. So like classic Operation, but they also had a Shrek one, which I feel like I may have owned at some point. They did a
what did we have to get out of Shrek? What do we think?
definitely like onions.
A bunch of rats on a stick.
Oh man.
A gross enlarged ogre heart is what I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Yeah, they had a lot. They're still like making new versions, I think. They had like a Spider-Man, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man, SpongeBob. There's like a Doctor Who one in the UK. Toy Story 3, Cars 2.
Wait. Cars 2, not Cars. And not
Just-
Toy Story. Toy Story 3 specifically.
Yeah, I think like after a few movies they were like, huh, we could get something out of this.
What's next? Airplanes? Or was it planes?
Starring
Oh.
starring the greatest comedian of all time. Do we know who was the voice? Michelle. The best comedian ever.
I don't even know what movie you're talking about.
Planes. It was like it wasn't even Pixar, I think. It was like Disney's like smaller animation studio, and it was like the same universe as Cars, but they were all planes.
Steve Martin.
Oh no, it was not Steve Martin. The lead voice was, of course, Dane Cook, the greatest comedic mind of all time.
Right.
Dane, if you're listening, we'd love to have you on the show. That'd be fucking awesome if we could get Dane Cook on this show.
Incredible.
It would actually be kind of cool.
Yeah. So that's my brief history lesson. Class dismissed.
And now it's time to go under the gym stairs and look at the apple facts that we're not supposed to look at while teacher's away.
Head under the bleachers.
Under the bleachers. Yeah, I called them the gym steps. Why didn't I just call them the bleachers? What is wrong with me?
Gym steps.
Yeah. What the fuck? So I sent them to both of you, but Josh is going to be reading these apple facts this week.
All right, everyone. Hold on to your boots. Here we go. Operation gives children the chance to play out a highly fictionalized version of what it's like to be a surgeon. I say highly fictionalized because you don't get the chance to cripple your patient with massive amounts of debt due to being overcharged for latex gloves, cotton swabs, and pain medication. Seriously, fuck the pharmaceutical industry and the American healthcare system. I get that this joke isn't very fun, but then again, neither is Operation.
Mic drop. Absolutely.
Damn, so we're already getting some pieces of a review.
Well, we'll see.
We will see.
I feel like I say this every week. I don't like to get political on this show, but I constantly am, I guess.
So apparently, the creator of Operation sold the rights to the game for $500,
I don't
which
know if you
Michelle
guys heard that
let us
before.
know. Yeah, well, I don't know. But
Might have heard it.
the game has gone on to make its current owner, Hasbro, over $40 million.
I don't think we verified that information earlier either.
It's crazy.
Now that's why you never sell your ideas for cheap, folks. I'll be sitting on this gold mine of Apple facts until Jeff Bezos flushes me so full of money. I'm doing swan dives into my vault of riches, Scrooge McDuck style, baby.
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 Is that Austin Powers?
No, it was more like, yeah, baby. Not like, yeah, baby. You know?
Baby.
Baby.
Yeah, Austin Powers is more Bay.
Yeah, it's B-E-B-E.
Operation was originally named Death Valley before Milton Bradley purchased the rights to the game. Speaking of valleys, what is your favorite valley of all time? Mine is Hill Valley. Despite the fact that ludicrous things happen there, I can buy a time-traveling DeLorean, but Mary Steenburgen?
Virgin.
Mary Steenburgen, falling for crusty-ass Christopher Lloyd. I don't believe that for a second.
He's so crusty.
He is crusty.
He's a crusty man.
Oh my dear God. Look at Apple fact number 4.
This is a long one. Sorry.
Okay. Enough talk about Back to the Future. These are the Operation Apple facts after all. One of my favorite parts of Operation is the fact that you can make the board game buzz by just pressing down on the dude's nose. I was having a lot of fun with this by playing classic movie themes such as Indiana Jones, Superman, Star Wars, and of course Back to the Future. What, you thought we were done with that movie? The goddamn Doc Brown used his dog as the first test subject. What an asshole. I don't know if animal rights existed back then, but what I do know is Doc Brown decides to live in the past and makes Marty take care of Einstein. Hey, Dick, if you are going to take the responsibility of a pet, you better be sure to fulfill that commitment. Don't make the kid, who you presume will get into a debilitating car accident when you send him back, by the way, will automatically pick up the slack. What's that? He comes back to the future to pick up Einstein? Well, shit. I guess Doc Brown is a hero after all. Unlike George... I'm going to read the rest of this Apple fact in George McFly's voice.
Okay.
Unlike George McFly, who was a peeping Tom, then again, are we really surprised they cast Crispin Glover as this creep? I'm not.
So, if you guys can't tell where that Apple fact started out, I thought that Doc Brown left Einstein just in the past to kind of rot and put it on Marty, who, again, remember when he sends Marty back, he knows that Marty supposedly gets into like a car accident. Doc doesn't know that Marty's not going to get into that car accident in the future. He still thinks it's going to happen. So he puts it on Marty to take care of Einstein. But then I remembered he actually does come back on the train and picks up Einstein on the way. So I kind of had egg on my face. So I had to make it about Crispin Glover, I guess.
Oh, Crispin Glover.
He got recast. It's amazing.
So are we ready for the final Apple fact?
Yep.
Yes.
On the topic of Back to the Future, there was actually a Back to the Future version of Operation. The concept was the same, except instead of a body, kids had to remove pieces from the DeLorean. This included things like the hoverboard, Marty's jacket, and of course, the flux capacitor. However, the game was quickly discontinued after 3 children died due to the shock they received, being 1.21 gigawatts of electrical power.
Oh my god.
1.21 gigawatts. How could I be so reckless?
That's what Hasbro said after they made the game. I don't know why Operation and Back to the Future go, have a deep-seated history, but it's all true. It's all facts.
I want a
That's just the way
DeLorean
it
edition
goes.
of Operation.
Yeah. Except a bunch of kids died, so we can't.
Actually, you know who I want as my character in Operation? I want George McFly. I want to do Operation on George McFly. I want to pick out a sci-fi comic book out of his tummy.
Take a chocolate milk out of his throat.
Like instead of buzzing, it just goes like, ow.
Goes,
Give me a milk.
McFly.
Chocolate.
You have to remove his density.
I'm your density.
So no, those are done. Let's get into it. Let's
Okay.
talk about our experiences with this as adults. So like I said earlier, I played this with my little brother. And I just want to kind of, before we get into thoughts on it, I just like to read the score. We played 3 games, and the scoring system is based on the dollar amount of what you remove successfully. So game 1, Colin, me, I had $3,900. My brother had $1,400. Game 2, I had $2,700. He had $2,600.
Ooh.
Game 3, I had $3,900. Again, he had $1,400. Again.
Oh, that's weird.
So, the king is in the building. Clearly, I am the greatest Operation player of all time.
So I played.
Despite never
I
picking
played.
it up.
I played 2 games with my little brother. The first score was. What was it? I got to try and remember. It was 3,600, Josh, to 2,600, Tanner. And the second game we played was a little bit more of a beatdown. Thanks to those specialist cards, the score was Josh with 4,400 and Tanner with 1,400. No, wait, sorry, 1,600. So
Wow.
I'm sorry,
Good day
Tanner.
for big brothers.
Yeah, there's beatdown coming. Beatdown
Listen,
served.
they gotta know who's in charge. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I did have help with those specialist cards, but you know what? Hey,
What are the I don't think mine came with specialist cards.
Mine also did not.
so it might be the older one, but I was a little confused at first. But so you have doctor cards and you have specialist cards. The doctor cards has half the amount as the specialist card. So I guess the idea is, when I read it, sounded like every person picks up a doctor card when it's their turn. You perform the operation. If you fail, all right, sorry. So when the game starts, you deal out the specialist cards to the players involved equally. So you have the specialist cards. The doctor cards are community. So you pick it up, you perform it. If you fail, the other person has to look in their specialist cards. If they have that same operation, they use it and double the money. If they don't, they just play for the doctor pay.
Oh.
Yeah, so that I didn't understand some of it though. Like the amounts didn't make any sense to me.
No.
I
yeah.
mean, I guess with like how valuable the organs are and the bones, but like the really expensive ones, they were the easiest ones to get. I believe the bread basket.
Yes.
The
Yep.
the bucket was cheap, but the heart too. The heart was fairly easy for the amount. Now, I'm just going to go into it. There wasn't a harder piece than this one I'm going to list, and it was, just give me 1 second to pull it up. I got to remember. Writer's cramp.
Oh.
That was the pencil, right?
Yes, that was
Yeah,
the
fuck that
hardest one. It's
Yeah.
so deep in there, and it's so thin. It's just a bar, and what pisses me off, it's worth like $200, or like $200 to $300.
Yeah.
Like, really? I swear, the second game, it was either the first or second game, that was the last card, because when you both failed, you just put the card under and you come back to it later, I guess. We were going back and forth. Fucking red light buzzing at me like every 10 seconds. That and that wishbone is pretty tricky.
Which one's the wishbone?
It's like the little slingshot looking thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Actually, the horse was like really hard.
Yeah, I was going to say
For
the
me.
Charlie horse was really hard.
The horse I didn't have issues with somehow.
It's weird that you said the heart because I kept, it must have just been me. I kept pushing the heart deeper and deeper. And so when it would be his turn to do it, he'd be like, God damn it. You look what you've done. I'm like, I don't mean to do it.
I actually kept doing that with the ankle, the wrench. I kept pushing that off to the side. So yeah, I'll be honest though, I did not remember the money portion, like the cards and the money.
Me neither.
I just remember playing it. Like I just remember playing with the bones, trying to take them out, and just seeing who was better at it. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, this is actually like, this makes it a little bit more fun. I mean, granted, it's better if you have more people, so would have been a lot more fun with at least 3. So 2 is okay.
And drunk. This has drinking game written all over it.
Oh my gosh!
Just as an adult.
I know.
Michelle, what was your experience revisiting it?
Yeah, so I played it with my roommate, and then we played around, and then we met up with like 2 of her friends, and then we played another round. So we did drink a little bit, and I definitely lost both of the rounds for sure. But yeah, I feel like it got both increasingly more fun and increasingly more frustrated, like as we kept playing it and like as we would have another drink. But yeah, the Charlie horse was definitely the hardest for me, and also the pencil was, like you said, sort of ridiculous. Like it's just so tiny.
I hate that damn pencil. I didn't even know what was hitting the damn side of like the metal. I was like so precise, and somehow I get buzzed, and I was like, it didn't even touch anything. I'm pretty sure it was above the board, and it did it. That's how sensitive it was.
I was super sensitive, and the thing is, like every time it would buzz, like it didn't get any less like scary. Like it was always so loud.
Oh no, it got
so
scarier
obnoxious.
because
it got scarier.
The further you are in the game, the more
stakes are raised.
Yeah, the more sweat comes with it. So you're sitting there. There was one point where I was playing. It was me and my brother playing, and I'm like I'm performing surgery, and my mom keeps talking to me. I'm like, yo, I'm working here. Excuse me.
I am in the operating room, and you're trying to hold a conversation? I mean...
I said, just wait till I get this bone out, and then I'll answer your question. And I'm back down in it, and I just hear, Josh, and I jump, and I hit the metal. I was like...
Unbelievable.
Legit felt like a doctor.
So there may have been a little bit of foul play the second game. I mentioned before I only won by $100 the second game. So my brother... I had gotten the breadbasket the first and third game, right? I pulled that card and I just whoop out it because it's so easy and it's worth $1,000 for some reason. That's the easiest one to get out. He was in the midst. He had pulled it in the second game and he was about to get it. And I just leaned down, looked at it, and I went, ah! I yelled at him, and he hit the thing and buzzed, and he was so pissed. And then he tried to do it to me. He was like shouting at me the whole time. I just went, boop, boop. It was out. He was so upset, and he only lost by 100 points.
That sucks.
He was so pissed.
Yet, we were doing that. We were like quoting like movies, and and it was working. Like I was just making him chuckle a little bit, and it was enough to bump it.
Yeah, there's some dirty tactics you could do at this game, definitely.
Yeah, there for sure is.
I mean, it is mind games, though. I mean, really, you just have to have the will and the fortitude to just to be calm under pressure. And there were a couple like what's the wrench one? The wrench ankle, right? Which would get stuck. I had figured out how to. I don't know if you're allowed to do this. I would like maneuver it back to the center and then pull it out. I don't know if that's frowned upon.
Yeah, I would close the prongs and I would move it that way.
Yeah, and once you got it centered, you could just readjust and it's just straight in and out. Like that one's just And I felt so fucking badass when I did it the one time because I just went one fluid motion. I went whoop whoop, and I just went like looking at him. I just pulled it out like it was nothing.
I didn't get to do the rubber band one. He got both of those. So I didn't get to do that one.
That's probably the easiest one.
Yeah, I thought that one was really easy.
It's fun. It's fun though. It's like so weird, like just getting a rubber band out of the leg.
So I, don't really have much, obviously, history with this. So when it buzzed, I thought it was going to like actually shock you. Like there was going to be like a shock that goes on, but there's not. It's just like a buzz. It just rattles.
Could you imagine?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I thought it was a shock. I thought you went like it gave you a little like a little bit, but it's just a buzz. Because this game seems like it's pretty old. This game was made before safety regulations for children. Obviously. But I'm interested, Michelle, about the drinking aspect of it. What were your rules for it? Because this seems like, again, prime drinking game.
Yeah, so the first time we played it, we were just like drinking. We didn't like have a game set up yet. But then when we played again, it was just like drink every time you hit the buzzer.
Like full drinks or just sips or?
Just like sips. We weren't like going crazy or anything, but I'm sure it would be like a great drinking game because by the time like you're done with it, I mean, you just be gone.
Yeah, I would think sips for every time you hit the buzzer and then shots every time you lose the game, right? This probably seems like the best role to go with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and then obviously the drunker you get, the worse you'll get at it, you would think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whoever gets the pencil, everyone drinks.
You have to finish your drink. Yeah, that would be a good one.
Yep.
That would be really good.
And if you get the bread basket, you automatically have to drink. Because fuck you for making that much and getting that easy piece.
Honestly.
So easy. Do we want to kind of go through these and then rate if we just want to do scale of 1 to 10, how easy or how hard we thought it was?
So 10 being hardest, 1 being
Yeah, I've got
easy?
the cards here if we want to go through. I have them ordered by their prices, so the $200 ones will be first. All right?
Mm-hmm.
So spare ribs.
Pretty easy.
I'm gonna go. That was a 2.
Michelle?
Yeah, 2. 2, yeah, that one's...
Yeah,
That's easy.
I thought there was a little bit of trickiness to it, but all in all, I mean, it was, considerably pretty easy. I'll go 3. I'll give it a 3. Pulled muscle. That's the rubber band.
That's the easiest one.
Mm-hmm. That's a 1.
Yeah, that'd be a 1.
I didn't play that one, so I can't really.
It was really easy.
I can't judge it.
It's almost impossible to if you're trying a little bit, it's impossible to hit the edge. The wrenched ankle.
That one's a little tricky, maybe.
Yeah, I'm gonna give that one. I'm gonna give that one a 6.
Ooh.
That one was giving me because that one moved a lot
Yeah.
for me, so I had
That
to
one
really keep.
would
And it's
sink in
thick.
there.
There's no thin part, so that one's thick to grab. So you have to open those things.
Yeah, you're right.
I think I'd go 5 just because I feel like that's one where once you figure it out, you kind of get a nice little. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably go 5.
All right. So those are all the $200 ones. Writer's cramp, the pencil.
Easy 9. I'm going 9.
Yeah,
I'd
that
go-
one sucked.
I'm not gonna say 10 because it wasn't impossible, but 9.
I'm going 8.
I'd go 9 too. We had a lot of trouble with that one. Adam's apple.
That one was. I thought the wrench was harder, in all honesty. So I'm gonna go 5 on that.
I'm going to go 6 on that one.
I think once you get the stem, you're golden. 3.
Yeah.
I don't think I missed on that one. Funny bone. This one's
The angle was hard for me on the apple. That's why
yeah. That was another
you
one
have to,
where it kind of
get at the right
sunk
angle.
in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny bone. This one was $400.
The funny bone. Oh, okay. That one I don't remember really having trouble with that. I'm gonna say 4.
Yeah, I'm going to go 3. I feel like that one's pretty easy.
Yeah, 3 seems about right. The Charlie horse for $400.
Oh, God. That was the hardest one. I'm going to go 9.
I'll also go 9 with that one. That one was so tough.
I'm gonna say 7 because I didn't buzz on that one at
Really?
all, but it was still tricky. I had to be careful.
It's such a weird angle that it gets in.
Trust me, I don't know how because you look at it and it's there's nothing easy about this, but
Yeah.
I got lucky with it.
I don't sell yourself short, Josh. You're good. You're a good doctor.
Yeah. You're a good surgeon.
Doctor.
Good
Good
specialist.
specialist. We're gonna call it whenever I play Operation. Gotta call in a specialist. I'm just gonna call Josh. Butterflies in the stomach.
0. If you buzz on that, you're
Oh.
ridiculous.
You're a
Because
loser.
that's easier than the bread basket because it's thicker.
It's so in the opening. It's so big.
Yeah, the opening's really big.
And you have the head, the little piece to
Yeah,
grab.
just grab the head. I'll give that a 1. That was
Yeah,
really easy.
1.
I'll give it a half.
I'll give it a 2. I'm gonna give it a 2 because I think there was an easier one. Water on the knee.
What does that mean?
That's a 1.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what it is either. I would go 2 on that one.
That's a
Guys,
1.
this one was worth $500.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's just
Yeah,
so
I'll give that one.
so.
I'll give
open.
that one a 2. Wishbone.
That one's an 8 for me.
Yeah,
That one was
one
tough. That was tricky.
Yeah, I go 8 too.
I'll also go 8. Broken Heart.
That one is a solid. I'm gonna say 7, just
I was
because of
thinking
the
7 as well.
thickness of it.
I think this is the one, other than the pencil, we had the most trouble with, just because it kept fucking moving. It kept getting stuck in there.
It kept slipping out of like my
Yeah.
grasp for it.
Yes. Oh, you know what did that to me before I got the hang of it? The wrench did that to me like 3 times.
Yep, me too.
It kept sliding out. I'll give that one an 8. That was really tough. And then finally, we have everyone's favorite with $1,000, the bread basket.
It's like, who came up with these dollar amounts?
Can I give it a negative? I'll go -3 for the bed.
You think that one's? Do you really think? Do you think that one's the easiest?
Yes. The only reason my brother messed up on it was because I fucked with him.
I mean, I'm giving it a 1, but like the butterfly, I mean, it's a bigger area, and you have less to
I
grab
agree.
Is it bigger?
I agree.
Oh yeah,
This-
look,
I don't know. That one was so easy.
because it gets wider at the top. It's like a, looks like a.
It would have been it would have been way harder if the bread was closed, but it wasn't. It has that slice in the middle, which made it look like a tooth, by the way.
Well, yeah.
Like I saw it and I was like, where do I put this near his mouth? It's like, oh, this is a piece of bread, I guess.
Guys, I was doing so, like, not to toot my own horn, but the first game, I really thought I was going to be, like, undefeated. I was on such a roll. I had 6 pieces and didn't hit it once. And
Oh.
that damn fucking pencil just ruined everything. I was so angry.
In all honesty, the second game, I know I said it was close, but yeah, I just kept pulling the low amounts, but I was pulling them out like nothing. And he was getting the high ones, which were easy, but I was kind of killing it. But yeah.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out like where these dollar amounts came from. At first it was like, okay, maybe like the actual hardest operation like in real life, but like then the heart would probably be the most expensive.
Then make it harder. I mean,
Yeah.
then make, like, the bread basket harder if it's so expensive. And why is that so
Yeah, it
expensive? Why
makes
is that
no
more
sense.
expensive than the heart?
Exactly. I don't get it.
Are you guys ready for some PTSD?
Yep. Oh god. It's so loud. It's so loud.
So yeah, I mean, do we have much to say about this? Much else to say about this?
Not really. It's very
mean-
straightforward.
Yeah.
You're either into it or you're not.
I was really looking forward to playing this because I remember enjoying it when I was younger. And I gotta tell you guys, I hated it.
Wow.
Oh god, I really hated it.
Michelle.
I think Michelle should give her review first.
Okay, I'm not going to score it, but I'm just going to say, Michelle, I didn't play this growing up, and I thought it was going to be really boring and dumb, and I had a blast. Just like I don't know, there's something that's like kind of cathartic about you fucking up, and then the person you're playing against messes up, and then you mess up again, and it's a great laugh. I kind of liked it. I liked it.
So like everything you just said is great. It's just the buzzer. Every time it would go off, I would just get like just more stress. Like I just.
I guess
just too much.
I'm just a sick bastard. I love the stress it gives.
I like being scared. I guess.
I like being scared. It's just I
I thought you loved like horror movies, Michelle, but
Oh, I absolutely. And I am. Like,
and I don't. But I
competitive
love
person.
being scared.
but I don't know. I just didn't like it. I also like being scared, but it wasn't like I was scared. It was just like annoying. It was so annoying. I was just like, I don't. It just. Yeah, I
So
wasn't
yeah,
a fan.
Michelle, I think you should rate this first. So out of
Okay.
97.
I would love to rate this first. Oof, God. Yeah, it's got to be on the lower end of board games I would play again from my childhood. So I'm going to go 37.
Ooh,
Whoa.
I'm sorry.
ooh,
I'm
that's a
so
rough
disappointed.
one.
I did not. I just don't know, man.
Michelle's having her gusher moment.
So I'm curious to hear Colin's, but I want to save his for last. So I'm gonna
Okay.
go with a nice, solid, juicy 75 out of 95.
Wow,
shit.
that was so high.
Really? I thought that was
What?
like compared to the games I'm thinking of. I mean,
75?
oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. Don't get me wrong. I had very low expectations for this, but I was very pleasantly surprised by how much just fun it was. It was just fun. It's interesting that you say that, Josh, that when you think of other board games, it would be on the lower scale or on the higher scale. I still think it's on a lower scale for me compared to like all of the other board games that I can think of when I was growing up. So that's kind of where I'm heading with this. It's not that I didn't like it. I just think there are so many better board games out there.
So the thing is, I love so many games, like so many board games. This one is so much fun to me. Now, a 75, you're still not even coming into the 80s, which is where like a lot of board games are going to be for me. Like, sorry, that's probably going to be up there in the high. Like, that's going to be high. Because like when I'm rating board games, I mean, it's not going to be hard to get up there for me.
So out of 94, I'm going to go solid 60 with this one. I'm going to keep
Wow.
it pretty even, I think. Which is a lot
That's
higher than I
crazy.
thought it would. I thought I was going to be down more
I'm very
towards
surprised
Michelle.
at the expectations Colin had for it, and I'm very surprised at the low result Michelle gave it. I just think it's such a different type of game. So like it gets points for that, and it's just like, I mean, I don't know. It's so simple, but it's funny too. Like I mean, there's like an element of like comedy to it when you're playing with people, because they just like get like you're concentrating so hard and you just get that little buzz for like the slightest like movement, or you get people getting down low at looking at you. It's just like, I don't know. It's just like a funny time.
Frustrating.
Yeah, and like the second you hit it and you're like, and
Damn it.
sometimes it doesn't like buzz. Sometimes it doesn't buzz loud at all. And so like we would watch each other and it would just be like a little red, and he'd be like, my brother would be like, buzzed. I was like, did it really buzz? Yeah, buzzed.
Like I was cracking up at how
yeah,
much like the slightest thing was making me laugh, and the slightest chuckle made me move and hit it, and it just made me laugh. I don't know, like. So yeah,
Yeah.
I really
You had to be
enjoyed
really
like playing it.
focused.
I will say more than I thought, and the fact that I just thought it was just going down and getting bones out, I forgot about like the money portion.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was pleasantly surprised there was like an actual like scoring system. Mm-hmm. As bullshit
I
as
also
it
forgot
was,
about that.
at least there was one. As terrible as the scoring system was. So yeah, that was an average of 60. Which it got a D. D for doctor.
D for doctor.
Which I think is pretty fair. So those are our scores for Operation. Josh, you got some plugs for us?
Yeah, so once again, thank you guys for listening to us. If you enjoyed what you heard tonight, please give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. You can also follow us on our Facebook and Instagram page, Millennial Milkshake. Also on Twitter at MilkBasedPod. And again, find us anywhere where podcasts are heard. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, all that fun stuff. And you can also follow our personal social media. Colin is going to be on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at The Last Call. That's call COL. And then Michelle on Instagram at Michelle Thoughts the way you think. And then you can follow me on Instagram, Joshy with an IE _124. So Colin and Michelle, thank you so much for playing this stressful game of Operation with me.
Thank you so much for joining me, guys.
Thank you, Josh and Michelle, for joining me on the operating table. And as always, stay creamy whipped.
Stay weemy.
Stay
Ew.
weenie.
Ew. Hopefully one day we'll have our own operation, and then Millennial Milkshake operation, and then they have to like remove like apple facts and whips and cream. And the cream can be where his penis is.
Nice.
Yeah, solid.
Nice. Michelle's not impressed.
Nice.